up the inside. A repeat of last lap. They are side by side. Bayliss almost had his knee on the fairing of the Penrite Honda.
There he goes. He hasn't taken long. He's going to do that same move again.
Herfoss is on the inside.
You can't do it. There he goes up the inside. He pushes him wide. He's made the pass.
He obviously wasn't listening to you, Steve Martin, because he can and he did. Herfoss takes the win ahead of Josh Waters, and another round win for Troy Herfoss. What a ride. He was back as far as fourth position at one stage, Steve Martin.
That was a brilliant ride by Troy Herfoss.
You dream of having runs like this, and I just got to thank the team so much for giving me a bike that's so easy to ride.
Final two corners for Wayne Maxwell. Drives out of Yamaha corner on his Yamaha to take the win. Perfect weekend for Wayne Maxwell. Checkered flag. Greets the rider on board bike number 47.
It's the penultimate round, and we come to you from Winton in Victoria. Stop number 6 on our calendar for the Yamaha Motor Finance Australian Superbike Championship, presented by Motul Pirelli. This place, located 209 kilometres northeast of Melbourne, and is host to a track known as Australia's action track, Winton Motor Raceway. Coming into this round, it was Wayne Maxwell holding the lap record with a 120.6. And it was also Wayne Maxwell who won here last year. A big hello, thank you for joining us from Emma Francesco and Steve Martin. Steve, I love this place. Welcome back to Winton.
Oh, it's always good to come here, Emma. I love the place. There's always great action on track, and I'm looking forward to today. It's going to be absolutely a cracker.
And of course, at this track, the racing is always sensational.
Yeah, it looks pretty simple on paper, but I tell you what, it's far from simple. 3 kilometres long, 12 turns, 400 metres in between each corner. It sounds simple, but I tell you what, it's bumpy. The riders don't get any time to rest. It really is hard work out on track.
And it's Wayne Maxwell that I mentioned earlier that has the lap record, but it's not Wayne leading the championship. It is Troy Herfoss from the Penrite Honda Racing Team. A big lead of 44.5 points. Can he get it in the bag today?
Well, if he ekes out another 7 points on Wayne Maxwell, he will be crowned here at Winton. But I'll tell you what, Wayne Maxwell will not let that happen. He's in a win it or bin it mood.
Well, we're not too far away from finding out if he could possibly take that championship today. But in the meantime, Steve, let's talk qualifying.
Unbelievable qualifying session. 4 guys under the existing lap record. It just sets the scene for today's races. And Troy Herfoss got pole position right where he needs to be. Maxwell is really up against it now. Winton Motor Raceway. We know that championships can be won or lost here this weekend, but there's one thing that stands in the rider's way, and that is the physicality, the technicality, and the take-no-prisoners demeanour of this track. It's game on early at Winton. Turn 1 is not a place to be frowned at. Big overtaking moves into here, and it's important because you need to enter these spoke cesses behind me first. You do not want to be caught in the mid-pack, especially off the start line. The run out of the Pirelli Corner is one of the most breathtaking here at the Winton circuit. The Superbikes reach upwards of 190 kilometres an hour as they head into the bumpy Suzuki Sweeper. YMF, KTM and the Kawasaki S's are all about pure edge grip and corner speed. The other thing is, around here, towards the end of the races, tyre degradation will come into play, and you'll see a lot of overtaking manoeuvres that wouldn't necessarily happen early on. The last 3 corners here at Winton are all about desperate lunges and defence. Watch out on that last lap though, because if you make it through the final turn here, it's not over. You've got to tuck down, get behind that screen, keep your fingers crossed that you win the race.
Now it's that time for the big boys to come out and get into action. Steve Martin, the championship situation after after Troy Herfoss took pole position means that his championship lead has now gone out to 45.5 points over Wayne Maxwell. He needs to be 51 points ahead to win the championship. Big ask to try and do that in this first race, especially with Wayne Maxwell's form around here. So many other riders that we can't discount. Josh Waters, Troy Bayliss, Brian Starring, certainly involved in this battle as well.
Yeah, I guess what he needs to do is he just needs to try and win this race from pole position. And if he does and Wayne Maxwell finishes second, well, there's 5 points, which means that he's only got to do that again in the second one this afternoon or beat Wayne by 1 or 2 points. And we'll crown him today. But it is a big ask because Wayne Maxwell, if you think back to a year ago at this track, was unbeatable. He was an incredible race.
Let's go down to Emma on the grid.
Wayne Maxwell, a very important race ahead of you. A clear track ahead of you too, which is good.
Yeah, 100%. It's a very important race for us to keep our championship hopes for 2018 alive. And yeah, we've done the work, I feel, and I feel good. Yamaha have given me a great package, and let's hope we can put it all together when it counts.
Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll head over to the guy that's starting in third position, Troy Bayliss. He certainly... Sorry, Troy, I'm just going to jump in here with you. Sorry, guys. Hey, Troy Bayliss, I know that a lot of changes were made to your bike at the very start of this weekend, so certainly things are looking up.
Yeah, sort of had a few little dramas going through the practices and qualifying, but left yesterday afternoon in a really good position on the race tyre, and we're feeling pretty confident and looking forward to hopefully a couple of good results today.
Good luck, Troy.
Thank you.
Troy Herfoss there taking his hat off and getting all psyched up, ready for the first race on today's program for the YMI Superbike class. Let's, speaking of Troy Herfoss, down to the grid with Emma. She's with Troy Herfoss.
Deep in concentration mode, that's for sure. Troy Herfoss, an important race. You have such good support around there, including your beautiful girlfriend who's made it out to most rounds. That's obviously a really big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's important. Emily's here with me a lot, and it's important to have a routine and a good team behind you. So wait and see how the race plays out. They can't help me now. So the bike feels good, and let's see how the next 16 laps go.
Go get them.
Thank you.
Constantly smiling is Troy Herfoss. And even when he pulls that helmet on, I think there'll still be a little bit of a smile under there because, as he said, the pole position yesterday was unexpected. I think he thought that Wayne Maxwell was going to take pole position, but 29 bikes on field, Steve Martin, a lot of traffic. In fact, how many laps will it be until we see our race leaders having to start deal with some lap traffic? And as we know, that can always throw, lots of wild cards up that the riders haven't thought about.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, one thing's for sure. We know that this track, it's so tight. There's one line. You could be even a second a lap quicker than the guy in front. That doesn't mean you're going to overtake him at the next corner because it's just like so join the dots here. I mean, from left to right, there's not normally a clear way through unless you're willing to touch fairings and take big risks.
Back down to the grid with Emma.
Brian Starring, you've had a few tough rounds, but onwards and upwards, a good start with the qualifying spot here.
Yeah, definitely. Qualifying went well for us. 5th place, second row. That's going to be okay. A little bit unsure as to what the race pace is going to be at the front and for how long. So, interesting race. I know what I can do on my race tyre, and I feel like the rest is a bit of a question mark as far as I know at the right at the moment. So, see how we go.
Thanks, Brian. Good luck.
Thank you.
Interesting point that Brian makes there, Steve Martin, because of the top 6, he's the only one not on Pirelli rubber. Brian Starring is confident that he can do the same lap time for the entire 16 laps of the race. Speaking to Josh Waters and a few of the other guys yesterday, they're saying that the Pirelli runners at the front will be in the high 120s for the first 8-9 laps of the race was the prediction. And then after that, none of them really know what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, they've all done tests here. Although they say they don't know, they've got a good idea. But I even know for a fact that Troy Bayliss didn't use a qualifying tyre to do that lap time yesterday. So I think they're pretty confident with what they've got on the bike at the moment. As the bikes head out now on their final exciting warm-up lap.
Yes, they head down towards spokes.com.au. S is the first part that they'll have to negotiate. And as we saw in the Kawasaki Supersport class earlier on, Steve Martin, the whole race can be decided essentially at that point in the track. But the front row of the grid will be Troy Herfoss, Wayne Maxwell and Troy Bayliss rounding out the front row on position number 3.
Row 2, of course, we will have Daniel Falzon, who got a good start. Josh Waters Josh Waters from 4th, Brian Starring in 5th, and Arthur Cece's in 6th.
Yeah, great result for Arthur there. On the next row of the grid, we'll have Daniel Falzon, Mark Kyoto, and Jamie Stouffer, who picked up a new sponsor this weekend, DA Plumbing from Sydney.
Yeah, absolutely good to see that. Ted Collins, a good position from him in 10th as well. Alex Phillips in position 11th, and Kyle Buckley in position 12th.
Yeah, I think that's one of Kyle Buckley's better performances so far this year. The next row, row 5, we'll have Matt Walters, Mitch Rees, the Kiwi visitor on board his Honda, and Mitch Levy, who was looking strong several parts this weekend in the final position on row 5.
Glenn Scott, we heard from him on the grid. Corey Turner, good to see him here as well, and Sloane Frost all the way from New Zealand.
Yeah, Corey Turner doing double duty as swinger for Bo Beaton in the sidecar class this weekend as well. Great to see Mason Coote back, last year's Supersport top 3 man, along with Adam Senior and Yanni Shaw, who's been improving all weekend on row 7.
Yeah, on his Kawasaki, of course, he's a front runner in the 300 class, making the jump up. Phil Chai, Brendan McIntyre on his Suzuki, and Heath Griffin on the Ducati. Yeah,
the second of the Craig McMartin prepared Ducatis, and Heath doing a good job this weekend. Hasn't got a lot of experience at Winton, but good to see Patrick Lee back as well on board his Yamaha, Nathan Spiteri, the local Victorian, and Evan Biles from SA Motorcycles.
Yeah, absolutely. As the riders come to the grid, Hamish McMurray and Brian Cozen round out the field.
Well, we're just about ready, Steve Martin. YMI Superbike class, race 1.
We've got somebody off the bike there. It looks like they've just gone to the wrong grid position. They're pushing their bike back. You can see Josh Waters at the front there, having a last stretch. That's one of the things he always likes to do. There is Herfoss. Wayne Maxwell's ready. Will he get a good start? That is the question.
Well, championship on the line. 45.5 points to lead for Troy Herfoss as they head into this first race. Round 6 at Winton. We are away. Great start there from the front row of the grid. Bayliss got a great start, but Wayne Maxwell's got a cracking start. Down the inside comes Bayliss, just nipping up the inside. We've got someone down. Is that Brian Starring or Kyle Buckley? It's one of the BC Performance Kawasaki's.
Yeah, a couple of Kawasaki's off track there. One not coming back in a hurry, but Wayne Maxwell's already put himself into the lead, and Herfoss is back in 4th position from pole.
Well, that is a massive journey through the spokes.com.au corners once again. As we said, red flag. And this is what a lot of the riders actually said about, with the high probability of a incident down. That's Brian Starring on board the BC Performance Kawasaki that's gone down there at turn 1, and that bike looked pretty second-hand, the elevation it got. Here's a replay of what actually happened. Bayliss down the inside. There goes, I think it was Brian just got in there too hot. He didn't get touched by anyone. Got in there too hot, had to lock the back end up, and just slid the bike and went down. Not very hard for Brian, but extremely hard for the motorcycle. Looks like we're going straight into a restart, no warm-up lap. And I'd say it will be a full restart. So the front row has been cleared and we're away. Great start there from Wayne Maxwell. Well, that all happened so quickly that we didn't actually realise what had actually happened there. The riders had gone straight into that start. Maxwell leads them through turn 1 for the first time, with Josh Waters in 2nd place.
Yeah, what a great start by Wayne Maxwell. If he ever needed to get a good one, it was going to be then, and he managed to pull it off beautifully. But once again, Troy Herfoss caught sleeping, and he's back in the packet in 4th position. Not as good a start for the Ducati man, Troy Bayliss.
Well, Wayne Maxwell so far this year has had a lot of bad starts, which has cost him in the overall races. Not so here at Winton Motor Raceway, where he's got the absolute cracking start and leads the field as they come down through the S's. Looks like Brendan McIntyre there on board his Suzuki doing a good job mid-pack. Josh Waters sitting in 2nd place. Then it's the 2 Troys on the 2 red bikes. Bayliss in 4th, Herfoss in 5th. Then it's Daniel Falzon, the next rider through. Great start too from Mark Kyoto on board bike number 30, the second of the team, X-Star Suzukis. He's right on the back of Daniel Falzon's machine as they come through the AGV corner.
I'll tell you who else is right up there, Arthur Cece's. A good job by him. He was actually up into the top 3 off the start there, but he's drifted back now. Herfoss has just got past him and he's in 5th position. So Arthur Cece's on the Honda. There he is, right behind Troy Herfoss. The best start for him for the weekend.
Well, no surprise to see Arthur getting a great start. He did it at at the Bend Motorsport Park from the 4th or 5th row of the grid. Oh, Waters, how late was Waters into that spokes.com.au is there for the start of this second lap? Let's go down to M for an update from the pits.
Guys, no teams have taken the gamble when it comes to tyres. We were told Team Suzuki Exto were going to change both riders onto the soft. They didn't. Track temperature now up to 27 degrees.
Yeah, I don't think that's hot enough for the soft tyre, is it, Steve Martin? Well, I think 30 to 35 degrees was the range that they were hoping for to let the soft come into action.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big gamble if you wanted to run with that SC0 Pirelli soft tyre or the softer Dunlop. One guy wide there, but it looks like everyone's gone for the safer option, the medium tyre, the tyre that they would normally race on at Phillip Island. It's a more durable tyre, obviously not as much grip, but it's a more consistent tyre. And, you know, this 16 laps, a lot of time spent on the edge here, you need to have a consistent tyre.
Yeah, good to see Corey Turner up inside the top 10 as well on board bike number 52 in his return. There he is, just coming down into the AGV corner now with just looking to see who that was. I think it may be Glenn Scott on board the 168 machine right behind him.
Jamie Stauffer's in that group too, of course. DA Plumbing helping them out this weekend, so good for them to have a new sponsor on board.
Yeah, great work for the Craig McMartin Racers Edge Performance team to get another sponsor on board. And, well, when you've got a rider like Jamie Stauffer on the bike, a great result is assured for them here this weekend. Herfoss now has managed to get ahead of Troy Bayliss. He's moved up into 3rd position, set his sights on the back of Josh Waters' Team X-Star Australia Suzuki machine.
Wayne Maxwell, though, out front at the moment, 20.656. That's an incredible lap time for him on the first flying lap. He really is putting the hammer down, and he's already spreading the field out. I don't think that Josh Waters has got the pace to stay with him at the moment. Josh in the 1:20s as well, but still there's a little bit in it.
That's actually a new lap record, a couple of hundredths of a second under the existing lap record that Wayne Maxwell already held of a 20.688, but still some way off the 20.1 that Troy Herfoss set for pole position yesterday.
Yeah, well, the qualifying is one thing, but when you've got a full tank of gas, which these guys will have right now, that does definitely knock the times off. That's why the lap record can only be set in the race. There's Corey Turner in front of Jamie Stauffer there, and that Glenn Scott as well. So good to see him, and like you say, he's riding really well. Of course, he made his comeback at Morgan Park, but how different is it riding a sidecar and the Superbike on the same weekend?
Yeah, well, that's it. I think he said his arms had grown by a couple of centimetres this weekend, hanging onto the sidecar. But also, too, last year's leading rookie in the championship, Corey Turner. Good to see him back and racing on board the Honda CBR. Oh, Jamie Stauffer having a big look on board bike number 27, trying to get around the inside of Glenn Scott. Can't quite do it. Cole Buckley on bike number 83, the second of the BC Performance machines, right behind. And also Mitch Levy on bike number 68 doing a great job. Well, not the first time we've seen Cole Buckley and Mitch Levy close together on track either.
No, they seem to be good buddies when it comes time to that. But Herfoss now right on the back of the number 1 machine, the Suzuki GSXR of Josh Waters. But he's watching Wayne Maxwell drift away in the front, which is not what he wanted to see.
New lap record, Troy Herfoss, a 1:20.5, set on lap 3. So 2 lap records so far, 1 to Maxwell, 1 to Troy Herfoss, and that's the reason why Herfoss is now closed right in on the back of Josh Waters' machine.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Josh Waters ain't hanging around either. He's like on that 21 flat to 20.9 lap time pace. So, you know, once again, like Morgan Park, I think if you're going to want to win this race, you're going to have to smash the lap record lap after lap. Bayliss is hanging in there too. We've got to keep an eye on him. He's also in the 1:20.9s at the moment.
As they look at back in the field too, it looks like Arthur Cecis is doing a great job to hold out Daniel Falzon and Mark Chiodo as well. Remember, Arthur Cecis and also Mark Chiodo are going to battle in the championship for the leading rookie as well. And not too much separates them in the championship at the moment.
That's a handy little lead that Maxwell's got at the moment.
Down to M for an update.
Brian Starring just walking back to the pits. Tough luck, mate. What happened?
I feel like that was a real racing accident. I mean, I got in a little bit hot into the first corner, but I had Josh on the outside of me and he sort of swooped in, which he had every right to do so, and I was going too fast and running out of track, so I had to put it down. But anyway, I'm glad that
there wasn't a bigger accident than that, and no one else got hurt, and nor did I. But my motorbike's pretty second-hand anyway. So sorry to the team for that, because we think we're in for a good race. At least we'll go for race 2.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks.
Bad luck for Brian Starring and the BC Performance team. Let's hope they can bounce back in race 2 this afternoon. It is currently still Wayne Maxwell that leads from Josh Waters, who's just set his fastest lap of the race, 1:20.549. And that would have been a new lap record. Unfortunately, Steve Martin's already been smashed out of the water 3 times so far this race.
It's not tennis, mate, I'm telling you. Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, Wayne Maxwell, he had a 1.3 lead. It's actually come down now. Waters is on a bit of a mission. He's pulled it back. It's just down to 1 second now. So Maxwell will know that he's going to have company, and I think it's coming rather soon. Bayliss is hanging in there too. This group could close up, and wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, well, the fastest 2 riders in that top 4 last lap around were Troy Bayliss and Josh Waters. So let's keep our eye on the gaps of that top 4, which we sort of predicted that these would be the top 4 riders. We also hoped that Brian Starring would be with them as well, but unfortunately his race ended at the spokes.com.au.s's on the first start. Red flag was required at a full restart of 16 laps. We're now on to the 5th lap. They'll be coming round to complete actually the 6th lap now at the completion of this one. Current race leader is Wayne Maxwell, enjoying a 1 second lead over Josh Waters and Troy Herfoss. And Josh Waters' prediction of 120s being the first 8 to 9 laps is so far coming true. We're on to the 6th lap. Our top 4 all in the 120s. Once again, there is literally tenths of a second separating the top 4 in lap times as we complete 6 laps.
A couple of years ago, like if you did a 1:20 in qualifying, it was like seen as an incredible lap time. Now these guys are just rolling them off lap after lap. It's an incredible display. Arthur Cece's there once again. Great job by him. Daniel Fowles on behind him too. Good to see him. As you said, he's got his brother John doing the electronics here this weekend. Al Phillips as well, they're having a great ride.
Yeah, a real good battle between the 2 South Australians and the Victorian. Oh, Marchiotto was very wide on the exit of the Suzuki S's there. Managed to gather it back up as they came through YMF Corner and down into the start of the S's now. But he's just lost a tenth of a second or so from the back of Daniel Falson's factory Yamaha YZF R1M as they come down through Kawasaki and then drive down the YMI straight.
This is probably one of Marchiotto's best rides on the Superbike. It's good to see him up there in 7th position at the moment. He is really having a cracker of a ride.
When you also have a look at his last lap and his fastest lap, there was literally 0.06 of a second between them. So he's having some good consistency as well, is Marchiotto. I know I desperately wanted to get into the 20s here this weekend, but I think at the moment, sitting in 7th place, he is having a great ride. And also a great ride too for Arthur. And as we mentioned, they're both going for the award of top rookie in the championship this year.
Oh, someone's down. Yep, that's Maxwell.
Is it Maxwell? It is on bike number 47, because we're just watching his teammate Daniel Falson a little bit further back in the track. Unfortunately, it looks like Wayne Maxwell has unfortunately stepped off down there at the spokes.com.au.s's. I don't think that R1M is going anywhere very quickly.
There was an awful lot of smoke or dust there. It looks like it was just dust from when he ran off into the spokes S's there, and we can just see out of a commentary box that he's back on the bike, and he will be bitterly disappointed as we have a look here as we head into the replay. There's Josh Waters heading in under brakes. He's tipped in. He's made the apex, but look at the outside of the track there. There's Maxwell. He locked it up, lost the front, and piled off the track. Straight away he gets up, but it's all over for him. So
you can see a big black line there too, right at the apex of the corner, Steve Martin, and unfortunately that's the end of Wayne Maxwell's race, and I think that might be the end of his championship challenge as well.
Well, yeah, we need to keep a close eye on those points now, because it's definitely looking better for Troy Herfoss. Not what Maxwell needed.
So as they come down around through the final corners now, we're watching Arthur Cece's and Daniel Falson. Josh Waters is now our race leader on board bike number 1, the reigning champion. Remember, he was in pretty good form here last year at Winton Motor Raceway, which set him up to take the championship challenge and eventually take the championship at the next round. He's got Troy Herfoss glued right to his tail.
It was at this point last year. I mean, Suzuki had issues here last year. They had electronic issues, but it was at this point where they went to the next meeting and bang, they were unbeatable. If that comes one race early, if they fixed it here this weekend, boy, I mean, Josh hasn't won a race this year. He needs to win. It's his time. He's got to give it everything he's got. How much will Herfoss push, though, knowing that Maxwell's out?
Well, that's another question, is that he knows that he's sitting with a very safe 20 points there at the moment, and that 20 points could very well be enough to wrap up the championship over Wayne Maxwell at the moment. As they come round through the YMI corner and down through the YMI straight, it is Waters only leading fractionally from Troy Herfoss. You don't need a timing monitor to tell you that that is a very small gap between our two protagonists at the front of this field. Not much between them in top speeds either, with Waters 242 kilometres an hour on the last lap against 238 for Troy Herfoss.
Yeah, of course, the top speeds here at this track aren't that high because it's just the straights are so short, and that's what makes it such a physical, a demanding track. It really is, you know, like you've got to be on top of your game. If you're carrying any sort of small injury, it's impossible to do the lap times.
Yeah, Wayne Maxwell has made it back to the pits, so the team will be looking to try and get that bike repaired, ready for the race this afternoon. But race one for Wayne Maxwell on board bike number 47 is unfortunately over.
Yeah, and his teammate Daniel Falzon is up in the 5th position, of course, just behind Arthur Cece, who's in 4th now. What a great ride by Arthur Cece, the young South Australian.
Well, doing a great job is Arthur, and holding out Daniel Falzon and Mark Kyoto. Al Phillips, as you mentioned, in 7th. Ted Collins in 8th. Good result for Ted Collins on board the first of the BMWs. Matt Walters and Jamie Stafer round out the top 10. Update in the pits from Emma.
Wayne Maxwell, I know how disappointed you are. I really am sorry. You've gone out there and you've done your best. Tough luck.
Yeah, it looks disappointing to crash out of the lead with a little bit of a gap. And yeah, I mean, it's just been, when we try, things don't go right when we're over the limit. And yeah, it's just my mistake then. I guess I'm riding the bike, and yeah, we weren't good enough, and we haven't been good enough all year. But I haven't been good enough either, so yeah, just very disappointed for the guys at Yamaha. We've really worked hard through the last test and the race, and yeah, apologies to them.
Don't be so hard on yourself. Good luck for the next one.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's always hard to, you know, like come on camera, but you got to take your hat off to him. You know, he's throwing his year away right there. You know what I mean? So, you know, he laid it on the line. He said what he had to say, and you know, we know how tough he is. He'll be back this afternoon, and I guess the pressure is off him now as far as winning the championship, so I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back and wins the second race today.
Yeah, well, the pressure wasn't only on Troy Herfoss, it was also on Wayne Maxwell to try and keep the championship alive.
Fair and squarely.
Probably more pressure on Maxwell, because he was the one that was 45.5 points behind Troy Herfoss. Herfoss just had to ride around and take points, and he could quite comfortably take it to the next round if he had to. Maxwell really didn't have that luxury.
Your question at the start of the race was how long will it be before they come up to some lap riders? Well, they're just coming up onto the back of them now. Not sure who the rider is just up in front, but we have a good blue flag system here, which means that hopefully whoever it is will move out of the way. Josh Waters is the man with the pressure now. He hasn't had a win this year. He's got to do it, but look at the drive from Herfoss. Herfoss is on now as they head into that YMI corner. He's on the brakes, he's nipped up the inside, and he's made a beautiful clean move. You can count on one thing, the Suzuki man, Josh Waters, ain't going to give up that easy, though.
No, he set that one up on the exit of AGV corner, did Troy Herfoss, with great drive, positioned himself perfectly to the inside, and was on the brakes late down into YMI corner, just up the inside. It was a pretty close run affair, though. There wasn't much between the two former teammates. Oh, as unfortunately, Al Phillips looks like he's gone down as well. End of the race for Al Phillips on the Apex Civil machine.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's all over for him, but back out front, look, yeah, Herfoss now, look at him, he's already eking out a bit of a gap on the man in second position. Look who else is lurking in the background there, the orange Ducati of Mr. Troy Bayliss.
Just having a look at the points, I think that at the moment for Troy Herfoss means that he will be 60 points ahead of Wayne Maxwell. So Troy Herfoss leading the race and is on track to wrap up the championship here at the first race of the penultimate round of the 2018 Yamaha Motor Finance Australian Superbike Championship, presented by Motul Pirelli. And here is the championship winning move it could be. On the brakes, late down into YMI corner. Both of them smooth as silk, but Herfoss on the inside running, and Herfoss, well, just simply had the better track position. Waters could do nothing about it.
Nabs.
Let's go down to Emma for an update from the pits.
Just down here with Phil Tainton from Team Suzuki Extra, and I tell you what, he's got a guy that wants to win the championship that's going up against him, but great pace from Josh.
Yeah, look, this is some of the best racing you'll find anywhere. I hope the crowd's enjoying this because these three guys at the front are all excellent racers. One of them's going for the championship. Bayliss is making sure that he doesn't shame himself, and he certainly is not doing that, you know. And Josh is mixing it with the three of them, so the other two of them. So yeah, fantastic racing, and I know that the pressure that Josh would be under in there would be extreme.
Thanks, Phil. Good luck.
Oh, look at this. We've got Adam Senior. He's on fire. Let's hope they can get the extinguishers there and put that bike out. This is the last thing the Western Australian needs. His R1's on fire at the moment. There's a red flag. We've had the red flag out. Adam's there. Oh, don't need this. Let's hopefully they get the fire extinguishers there straight away. Nothing you can do, mate. You're just going to have to stand back. Hopefully they can get there in a hurry. Come on, guys, is what he's saying. My pride and joy there. Oh, that is such bad news. But the red flag is out at the moment. So we are just in a waiting period to find out what will happen. But hopefully they can get Adam Senior's bike under control as quickly as they can. Come on, guys, get down there. And Adam's on the fire extinguisher. Get in there, get underneath. Make sure you get that out. But I would say that he's had some sort of engine failure there, which has caused that issue. So
yeah, with the amount of flames there, you'd think there had to be some oil or something in the belly pan. And look at the look of dejection on the face of Adam Senior, one of the the long-time protagonists in the Australian Superbike Championship, makes the trip across from Western Australia for every single round.
Not only that, he's one of the nicest guys. One of the nicest guys in the paddock as well. They come here with the family as well. Mum and Dad drive over. The sister joins as well. And you can just see there, unfortunately for him, that's heading into the Suzuki sweeper there, I think. It looks like something's let go and yeah, it's all over Red Rover for him. So at least he managed to get that bike out. Luckily, one fire extinguisher was enough to do it.
And according to the timing monitor, full points have been awarded for the race as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the championship, Troy Bayliss has jumped up into second position, equal with Wayne Maxwell in points as well on 212 points. So Bayliss making up some ground in the championship.
60.5 points is the lead for Troy Herfoss at the moment. So if he can maintain that lead after the completion of the second race this afternoon, he will be the champion. But at the moment, just a couple of points shy of wrapping up the championship.
Yeah, it's crunch time now. Something's got to go wrong with Troy Herfoss this afternoon.
But still, those extra 5 points that he got by putting that move on Josh Waters, that has probably carried him into the extremely strong position he now finds himself in, Steve Martin.
Absolutely.
Down to Emma with our top three at the podium.
Yeah, Troy Bayliss, obviously you never want a race to end like that, but fantastic points for you. 5th podium for this season. Well done.
Yeah, it's good, Emma. Shame Josh crashed out there towards the end, and I just couldn't replicate what I did yesterday on the same tyre. Couldn't quite get the same speed out of the bike today, so I was a little bit frustrated out there and probably made a couple of little mistakes and was a bit anxious, I guess. But like you say, in the end, we got some good points on Wayne there, and that's what it's all about. Points make prizes. So we just move on to the second race, and hopefully this overcast weather is just going to stay like that, and we'll have a nice race this afternoon.
Thank you, Troy Bayliss. In second position, Josh Waters collecting some much-needed points. That race had a bit of everything, didn't it?
Yeah, so unfortunately Wayne went down, and then Troy got past me, and I thought he was going to maybe get away, but I could see his tyre was torn, and I think mine was also. But at the end, I crashed. I don't know why. It was so strange. So go back. There's things we can hopefully make the bike better for race 2.
Good luck for the next one. Thanks, Josh.
Thanks.
And our winner, ladies and gentlemen, for race number 1 for the YMI Superbikes, getting closer and closer to that championship, Troy Herfoss.
Hi, Emma. I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say.
Just crazy turn of events. So I hope everyone's okay out there. I've seen bikes on fire, and yeah, both Wayne and Josh went down, so I hope they're okay. Whoa, tough race. Really terrible start. And too cautious into the first turn, especially after I seen Brian crash. Anyway, yeah, we tried something with the bike, and it wasn't what I liked. But we had drama at the end of that race, so I had the lead. I'm not sure if I seen point 3. I didn't know if I had the pace to get to the end, but I definitely am feeling good on the bike, and felt like I had it under control. But the tyre says otherwise.
Thanks, Troy.
Thank you.
They're great teammates and even better mates. And down pit lane, they're certainly known for having a laugh. This weekend, it's time to go behind the visor with the boys from Team Suzuki Extra, Josh Waters and Marcus Kyoto.
I got my first bike Christmas time when I was 3 years old, a little four-wheeler.
My first bike was in 2015. It was a Yamaha R6.
You had a bike before that, a dirt bike.
KTM 65 SX.
My idol sportsman, this sounds like I'm a bit of a suck, but I'm actually racing against the guy, so Troy Bayliss.
Yeah, mine's changed a bit over the years, but for riding motorbikes, it would have to be Nick Doohan. Yeah.
I drove a Suzuki Vitara.
A Volkswagen Touareg.
Away from the racetrack, we try and keep fit, so train and ride bikes,
Train.
do work, normal things.
I just work, just when you're a young guy just trying to make it in this sport, you just have to work, and I just work.
The championship this year, with only 2 rounds to go, there's a clear leader at the moment, so it's going to be very difficult to retain the championship, but there's still 102 points up for grabs. I think I'm 71 points behind now, but yeah, Troy Herfoss, if he keeps doing what he's been doing, it's going to be really hard to beat.
Troy Herfoss is looking like the man to beat at the minute, but throw a spanner in the works. Could be Patrick Lee. Could be Danny Falcone, but you never know. We'll have to find out.
Getting ready for the second race of Kawasaki Supersport with the crew Halliday once again starting from pole position. Tom Toparis will join him on the front row of the grid along with Nick Limington. Let's get down to the grid with Emma Francesco.
Thanks, Phil, with the man of the moment, the man sitting on pole position and the man who could win this race and then win the championship. No pressure.
Yeah, I just got to get through that turn one smoother this time. Bit of racing incident involved in the first race, but I just need to get through the first race smooth, first corner smooth, and hopefully bank some laps and just make it a smooth race, and hopefully I can get as many points as I can, and hopefully I can get the title. If not here, we'll try get it Phillip on, but I've got to be smart, no mistakes, and just more points.
Play it safe. I think one thing that's really important as well, you've got a fantastic team around you. They've been a great support for the whole year, haven't they?
Definitely. Yamaha's just a great brand. It's a good corporation. I've been with them for several years now, and it's like a family. So, I trust every move they do with this bike. I've got Kev Marshall working as a head mechanic, and he knows what he's doing with this thing. So, I've got the best team, best company around me. So, hopefully I can get the job done for them. There is pressure on my shoulders, but I can't let that get to me. I just need to look at it like another race, and I just got to have fun, more importantly.
Big race, go get him.
Thank you.
What a fantastic season it has been so far for Crew Halliday. He's had 9 wins. He's had 13 podiums. This guy's sitting right behind him, Tom Toparis. It hasn't been your weekend. How hard is it to stay focused when so many things are working against you?
Yeah, Emma, it's definitely been probably one of the toughest weekends I've had to face, actually. Crashing continuously just sort of wrecks your confidence, but we've pretty much been able to come back every time. But I think race 1, I just noticed the bike just wasn't right. So I finished the race and got a few points, but it's just not looking to go in our favour at the moment. So anyway, we're still happy, and just try and get through this one without crashing. It's just gotten really cold down here, so it's going to be a lot different. So we'll see what happens.
Good luck for this one.
Thank you.
Tom Toparis and his dad, Richie. I was actually, chatting to Marcus Kyoto. Richie, I just want to grab you quickly. Sorry, Marcus. You were saying that if the track was going the other way, you'd have more luck.
It's something we had to try something. Maybe we could reverse the track and just change his luck today.
That sounds simple enough.
No, he's going okay. He's doing his very best, and we've just had no luck at all this weekend. But it's a new race, a new start, so hopefully he can get it all together and we'll have a good afternoon.
Good luck.
Thank you.
We might actually even go back and chat to Marty, because Marty, you need some sleep. You had a really, really big night rebuilding that bike, didn't you?
Yeah, it's been a tough weekend for us, but we got through the first race. We'll see how we go in the second one. We made a few changes, so hopefully we can go forward. I don't think we can go much further back, so we're going to give it everything we got. There's still second in the championship up for grabs, so that's what our goal is.
You're going to sleep well tonight, aren't you?
I sure am.
Marty, the mechanic for Tom Toparis. We'll just head down to the guy that's starting in third position, Nick Limington. What a comeback for you for that first race. But I saw you in medical a little bit after. Everything feeling okay?
Yeah, it's just my race fitness isn't probably up to 100% in the moment. I was really struggling at the end of that first race, but to get a third place, my first race back, I couldn't be happier. I'm going to give it my all this race and, yeah, hope for the best.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Guys, let's not forget that he was diagnosed with cancer earlier this year, Nick Limington. He's had 7 months off. It's so fantastic to see him back here and doing a fantastic job. This guy did a fantastic job in the first race, winning. Congratulations. How are you feeling for this one?
Yeah, we're feeling pretty good and pretty confident. We'll play it smart and see how we go. But, yeah, I think we'll have good race pace in this one as well. So we'll see how we go.
Thanks, Max.
Thank you.
Boys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Emma. Great to hear from Max Croker there. Congratulations to Max and also the Matt Mladen Motorsports team on their first win of the year. There is the 1992 Australian champion and multiple AMA champion at the back wheel, taking the tyre warmers off. Great to see champions, former champions like Matt Mladen still being involved in the Australian Superbike Championship. We've got a former Australian champion in Aaron Slight here this weekend. Another former Australian champion, Steve Martin, joining me in the commentary box.
Yeah, thanks. It's really good to be here, mate. I mean, we've had an exciting day's racing so far, as we've seen from the highlights packages, and I'm sure that this Supersport race up ahead is going to be awesome.
Well, before we get underway, Steve Martin, quickly back down to the grid with Emma.
Dallas skier, it's not easy starting from all the way towards the back of the grid. What's your strategy?
Yeah, it's hard for me. Hopefully we can just get a good start, get up with some of the guys that are a bit quicker and get a tow from them and pull my lap times down and just sort of damage limitation for the championship.
Good luck.
Thank you.
So, boys, it seems pretty simple, right? Crew Halliday wins this. He wins the championship. Cannot wait for this one. It is our final race for the Kawasaki Supersport, and it's over to you, Phil Harlem and Steve Martin.
Thanks very much, Emma. Yes, you have summed it up perfectly, because the points difference between first and second on the racetrack, Steve Martin, is 5 points. The points difference that Crew Halliday needs to take out of Tom Toparis in this is 4 points. He currently enjoys a 47-point lead. He needs 51 in his bank account to be crowned champion here at the penultimate round.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders at the moment, and I'm sure that Tom Toparis has got that on his shoulders too. We saw them both run off track into turn one. Tom Toparis giving it everything he's got. You can be assured that he'll be trying that again. I mean, he just has to try and beat Crew Halliday if he can. You know, this is going to be a pretty exciting race, I would say.
Yeah, and also, as we mentioned in the first race this morning, we spoke to Tom Toparis yesterday, and he said his attitude towards today was he was just going to send it. Unfortunately, he sent them both off at turn one in the first race. And as Crew Halliday said, he just needs to get through turn one in a good position. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a great race between Crew Halliday and also Max Croker. Just like we saw in the first one. Unfortunately, Max Croker had a little bit of the handicap start advantage, and that was how he was able to hold off a very determined Crew Halliday towards the end, with good to see him on the podium for his first time this year.
Absolutely. Keep your eyes on Nick Limington, though. Of course, Zachary Johnson had a good ride last time out until he fell off. And Max Croker, how much confidence will he have at the moment? There's Dallas Skier. We spoke to him on the grid as well, the young South Australian from Mount Gambier. Mount Gambier is his home track.
Well, Crew Halliday, as we said, will start from pole position with Tom Toparis and Nick Limington joining him on the front row of the grid.
Damon Rees starts from row 2 with Brock Pearson and Max Croker in 6.
Zach Johnson, Giuseppe Scarcella and Ryan Taylor will all start from row 3.
Yeah, good to see Ryan Taylor there. He's on a new machine now, so really good to see him.
So row 4 will be Scott Nicholson in 10th, Lachlan Eppes and Jack Passfield.
Lachlan Eppes had a crash last time out. Reece Belling's out there. It's always good to see him on the track. Ty Lynch, another South Australian, and Dallaskew in 15th, and Campbell Russell rounding out the field.
Well, they're making their way back round through the final couple of corners now. As we mentioned, Crew Halliday can wrap up the championship here. If he takes victory, doesn't matter where Tom Toparis finishes. If he doesn't take the race win, well, then it all starts to get a little bit more complicated, Steve Martin, and we might have to get the abacus out to work out what the current championship positions are. But we will do our best to keep you updated with those as the race goes on. But as you said, if Crew Halliday takes the win, we don't need to do any calculations at all. He will be crowned Kawasaki Supersport champion for 2018.
Well, he's got to get through turn 1 first.
That's the first hurdle. There's Tom Toparis, pulls up on the grid on board bike number 7. His main championship rival, Toparis, sitting in second place in the championship so far. And great to see Nick Leamington back on board the 27 machine.
Brock Pearson there just...
well, red flag at the front of the grid. The red flags are off. We're about to go racing. Kawasaki Supersport Championship decider here at Winton Motor Raceway. Oh, what the red lights weren't on for very long at all. We've got a very good start from the top two. Toparis, I think he's up the inside. Not close enough to Crew Halliday. And it looks like they are all safely through turn 1 and now turn 2 safely. Brock Pearson got a little bit of a nudge there and was out wide as they came across the old start finish line.
Watch Toparis has already nipped up the inside into Motul Corner. He got a great ride out of the spokes and he's taking it to Crew Halliday, but Crew Halliday's already nipped back through to the front. No, not yet. Max Croker's there too.
Well, and also we heard from Marty Dowd they'd made some changes to the Cube Racing Kawasaki ZX6, and Tom Toparis is fully pumped up through the Suzuki S's. He currently leads the field. Crew Halliday right behind him, and Suzuki mounted Max Croker right there. Also, Nick Leamington back in 5th position. Is it Damon Reese?
Yeah, Damon Reese had a good ride last time out in Morgan Park, and he was vying for a podium position earlier on today as well. So all the main contenders are up there. There's Dallaskew and Ty Lynch. They didn't get off to such a good start in 13th and 14th position at the moment.
Looked like a pretty good start too from Giuseppe Scarcella on board bike number 47. The BC Performance Kawasaki. He's on the tail of Brock Pearson on board bike number 12. Brock Pearson making his return from injury at the last round, Steve Martin. Great to see Brock Pearson, a young man with so much talent, back in the championship as well.
Yeah, it really is. He's a big talent, and he just gets better lap by lap. Let's keep our fingers crossed for him that he can get through this one in one piece.
Well, 13 laps is the race duration. We've completed one with Tom Toparis taking the victory honours on the first lap, and the fastest lap of a 1:29.377. Not bad from a standing start.
No, that's a super fast lap time for Tom Toparis. When you consider that the race he had earlier on today, really impressive. But I'll tell you what's impressive is the fact that Maxi Croker is able to match it with these guys. Sure, he won earlier on today his first race win in the 600 Supersport class. But I'll tell you what, that was with these two guys out of it. Boy, look at the lean angle he's carrying there. Now, I reckon that win has given him extra confidence, and I think that he's going to run with these two guys to the end now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see too how the colder track temperatures that were referred to by Tom Toparis and a few of the riders down there actually affect the tyre grip and also the longevity of these tyres. I think you'll find that most of our, pretty much all of our top 3 are definitely all Pirelli mounted as they make their way down the Yamaha Motorcycle Insurance straight now and into AGV corner. It is Crew Halliday sneaking up the inside. There wasn't a lot of room there, but Crew Halliday was inch perfect on board bike number 23, the factory Yamaha, and as he makes his way down to the penultimate corners now, which are pretty much taken as one big corner with only the bike standing upright for a moment in between turns 11 and 12. The YMF straight now beckons, and Crew Halliday has taken the lead.
Yeah, that was a brilliant move by Crew Halliday. If the race was to finish like this, there's a long way to go between now and then, but if it was to finish like this, as we said, Crew Halliday would be the champion, so he will be giving it everything he's got right now. Tom Toparis there just sits in the background, and Max Croker hanging on. Nick Leamington as well, not losing out too much. So as they head down, let's have a look at a replay. Good drive out of Kawasaki for the Yamaha man on 23. He brakes from way back, foot on the ground, turns it nice and tight, keeps more lean angle, knee on the ground, blocks Tom Toparis, gets on the gas earlier too. That was a great move by Crew Halliday to pull that off.
Yeah, as we said, that was inch perfect, that move from Crew Halliday. He didn't have a lot of room to get through, but he pushed positioned the Yamaha R6 absolutely perfectly. We're coming back round to that same area of the track now. I'm just wondering if Tom Toparis is going to try and do a repeat performance on Crew Halliday as they exit the Kawasaki corner and drive down the YMI straight. Toparis not quite close enough to try and make a move. You can see the different line from Crew Halliday when he wasn't trying to put the overtaking manoeuvre on, and the exceptional drive that he got out of AGV corner on that occasion. In fact, Max Croker was also trying to launch an attack on Tom Toparis as well.
Yeah, you can also see how much out of control Tom Toparis is in the braking area. Like, he's jamming those brakes on. The back of the bike's coming into the air and it's moving around. It's definitely not as smooth or as composed as the leader at the moment, Crew Halliday.
Well, I also know that through practice and qualifying, Crew Halliday actually didn't use the soft tyre. All of his sessions were on the harder or race tyre. So the times that he was able to do all through practice and qualifying, he's pretty confident that he'll be able to do for a full race distance. I actually saw one of the tyres that he'd done race distance on, Steve Martin, and the tyre looked like it was hardly worn. So they have got the setup of that bike absolutely spot on there at Yamaha Racing Team.
Yeah, of course, there's a medium compound and a soft compound that the guys can choose from here in this class. The soft one's obviously faster, but doesn't last as long. But that's your gamble tyre. We're not sure who's got that on at the moment, but for sure Crew Halliday won't have that. He'll have that medium tyre on because he just needs consistency and safety at the moment. He's fast on whatever tyre he puts in that bike at the moment anyway.
Fastest man on track so far on lap 3 was Max Croker with a 1:23.961. That's about 1.1 seconds off the lap record. Steve Martin, with these clouds coming over and the track cooling down, lap record I think might be just out of the equation considering the importance of the championship and the closest of the racing at the front. Crew Halliday, as he said, he's not going to do anything silly, and trying to set a lap record when you've got a championship to win up in these conditions probably would be a big risk.
No, absolutely. If Crew's smart, he'll get out to 1.5, 2 second lead and just hold it there. He wants clean air around him so nobody can take him out, and just win at the slowest possible pace, because we know that Tom Toparis, look at him closing up there. He's really pushing that front.
Tom Toparis, fastest man on track on the last lap with a 1:23.727, 6/1000ths of a second faster than our race leader, Crew Halliday.
Damon Rees there just behind Nick Limington. Of course, those two guys were in podium contention last time out. Nick getting third and Damon getting fourth. So a little bit back this time, 1.8 off the leader, those two guys. Brock Pearson just behind them. Crew Halliday, meanwhile, out front is just eking out that little bit of a gap.
Yeah, it was great to see Nick Limington take his third podium for the year. Of course, he was on the podium at the first round at Phillip Island on 2 occasions. Was at the next round at Wakefield Park, but then unfortunately those health issues prevented him attending the Bend and Hidden Valley and Morgan Park rounds. But it is great to see both Nick and his dad Richard back in the paddock and doing a great job on board their privateer Yamaha.
Absolutely, and Maxi Croker, look at that, great drive. He's just going straight past Tom Toparis, but not late enough on the brakes there. The Suzuki man, the Matt Mladen protege there, just hit the brakes that little bit early. Got good drive out of the AGV turn, but couldn't cap it off in the YMI braking area.
Well, time for an update from the pits with Emma.
Yeah, guys, just on the pit mall with Matt Mladen, and wow, he's really managed to turn his weekend around, hasn't he, Max? He's in third still at the moment.
Yeah, he's doing really well. Max has always had a lot of talent, and it's just a matter of getting the bike sorted out for him, the experience. He's so inexperienced compared to the guys he's racing against up the front there, so he's doing a really good job this weekend. We're all proud of him. And the first race win, the first one.
Good luck. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.
His current lead over Tom Toparis as they came across the start-finish line was only half a second, and Tom Toparis looks to me to have closed that down even further as they came through the first intermediate.
So it's Ryan Taylor, of course. He was one of the fallers last time out on the Arden machine, the R6. Ty Lynch there as well. What a gaggle of riders we've got there. 42, Jack Passfield. I think he was a faller last time out too.
And also to Zach Johnson in that battle as well. I think he was running in 4th or 5th position earlier on this morning, Steve Martin, so he's sitting back in 11th position at the moment. And I think maybe just a tad sore after that off-track excursion at about that area of the track we saw in race number 1.
Yeah, there's Reece Belling, of course, in the number 61 machine. He's having a good battle at the moment.
Their big move there from Scotty Nicholson
Yeah.
up the inside too on board bike number 39. He had a good result in the first race as well on board the Next Gen Motorsport Suzuki GSXR 600.
Yeah, it was a little bit further up, but I'll tell you what, he's certainly having a bit of a dogfight at the moment. He's got himself wedged in this bunch of guys and trying to make his way forward.
Another rider just like Max Croker, the man on screen at the moment, that made his way from Supersport 300 last year into the Kawasaki Supersport class in 2018.
Yeah, he was very competitive too last year, was Scott Nicholson, so it's good to see him move up. Meanwhile, out front, looks like Crew Halliday has put the hammer down a little bit there. And just pulled a bit of a gap. Look at this. Tom Toparis has gone in completely sideways, nearly takes him out, and that's why the gap's evolved, because Toparis has given it everything he's got and a little bit more.
Well, he did say he was going to send it Steve Martin. I think that probably fits under that banner. And Tom Toparis, I don't know how he managed to keep the bike on track down there in the entry to the YMI corner.
He's not sending it by mail, he's sending it by NBN. That was that fast into that corner.
Maximum download speed for Tom Toparis as they come down through YMF corner and start the S's now through KTM and Kawasaki. And those top two have just managed to get away a fraction from Max Croker, who's in a pretty lonely third place at the moment. Nothing lonely about Nick Leamington's race, because he's got very close company there from the former Kiwi Supersport champion Damon Rees on board bike number 20, the Carl Cox Motorsport Rees Motorcycles Honda CBR 600.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I think Max Croker's going to have to watch it if he drops off any more. I think Nick Leamington's going to catch him up, and especially with the pressure that he's been put under by Damon Rees on the Honda at the moment, there's every chance of that happening.
Just having a look at the top speeds, there is literally nothing in the top speeds of the top riders as well. The slowest 213 and the fastest 216, so only a couple of kilometres an hour. But as you mentioned in the track preview, Steve Martin, the straights aren't that long here, so this track is not all about top speed.
Absolutely not. There is nowhere really to wind these bikes up. I mean, you watch them, they're virtually on the edge of the tyre for 90% of the time. That's why there's so much tyre degradation. The speeds aren't high, but you're always on the lean angle from one to the left. You're never upright. The tyre never gets an opportunity to cool down.
Well, Crew Halliday has not dropped out of the 23s since the first flying lap of this race. The rest of the field have been alternating between high 23s and low 24s. So Crew Halliday, if nothing else, is extremely consistent in his lap times as he makes his way down through YMI now. And this battle between Nick Leamington and Damon Rees just keeps getting closer and closer as they come round through Kawasaki Corner, the final part of the very technical S's section there, and then start the, well, essentially the three drag strips that finish off the circuit here at Winton.
Yeah, absolutely. Brock Pearson is on a bit of a charge at the moment too. He's also in the high 23s, lapping as fast as guys like Nick Leamington, and in fact faster than Maxi Croker at the moment.
Time for another update from the pits with Emma.
Yeah, just checking in with Glenn Allerton in the Next Gen garage. And I tell you what, Scott Nicholson, God, he's still so young. Certainly part of some great battles, up to 10th now.
Yeah, Scott's in a pretty good battle at the moment, but he's got Jack Passfield with him, another young guy that I help. So there's plenty of battles all over the field, but I'm pretty interested to see what's happening between Toparis and Halliday. Obviously, the championship's on the line, so it's exciting to watch.
Great to have you here this weekend.
Thanks.
Well, and of course, Glenn Allerton, former teammates with Crew Halliday as well. And I think they both live in southwestern Sydney, so probably spend a fair bit of time training together as well.
Yeah, of course. Glenn injured himself in a motocross accident, is unfit. Normally would be lining up in the Superbike race later on this afternoon, but because he's unfit, he's just come down to watch and support his teammates. Big move! Oh, that's Damon Rees has gone down on the Honda. He tried to go up the inside, and it didn't work out for him. Tapped the back of Nick Leamington. He's going to try and pick that bike up. And will he be able to get it going? It just didn't work out for him.
I think the bracket's broken holding that belly pan on, so look, that could be the end of Damon Rees's race. But that was so close. I actually was just saying, oh, he's about to try and make a move up the inside, then unfortunately couldn't get out of it in time. Steve Martin tagged the back end of Nick Leamington's machine. Was extremely lucky that they both didn't go down. Here's a replay of it. You can see Rees just toe to the inside there, tries to get out of it at that point, straighten the bike up, and yeah, that was the end of Damon Rees's race, unfortunately, and Nick Leamington very lucky not to go down as well.
Red Rover all over for him, unfortunately, and that's the end of his weekend. But that puts Nick under a little bit less pressure. And the man out front, number 23 now, has got 1.3 seconds lead over Tom Toparis. A brave ride by Tom Toparis, but that pressure is starting to come off the man at the front at the moment.
Well, and Toparis has actually responded. He's back into the 23s as well. So he's giving it a red-hot go, Tom Toparis. He knows also, too, in the back of his mind that if he can't get past Crew Halliday, he has to stay close enough to put some doubt in Crew Halliday's mind in the final stages of this race and hopefully force Crew Halliday into making, well, something that he hasn't done all year, and that is a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, Nick Limington is starting to catch up to Max Croker. That gap now is, what is it? It's just over a second and a bit to that man, Max Croker on the Suzuki, the guy that won his first ever Kawasaki Supersport race here today earlier on. But look at that out front now. He is just powering home.
Yeah, I think that last lap probably cost Nick Limington a couple of tenths of a second with Reece smashing into the back of him, but he's certainly very fast in the first couple of sectors of this race as we see Damon Reece just slowly making his way back to the pit. There's Glenn Allerton's young teammate, Scotty Nicholson, on board bike number 39, doing a great job on the Next Gen Motorsports Suzuki.
Yep, Zach Johnson there with him. Of course, Zach was in a pretty handy fourth position in race one earlier today until he crashed out. So that was an unfortunate result for him, but good to see him getting his confidence back. Scotty Nicholson, 8th position at the moment. He's working his way through that bunch. Big moment there for Zach Johnson too. Just lost the rear there.
Well, Zach Johnson actually sits 5th in the Kawasaki Supersport Championship at the moment, Steve Martin, as the leaders are off on their 12th lap of the race now with 11 laps complete. Fastest man on that last lap, no surprise to see it was Crew Halliday, about half a second faster than Tom Toparis, and the rest of the field are back in the 24s and 25s, whereas Crew Halliday and Tom Toparis still managing to circulate in the 23s.
Yeah, it's a pretty hot pace out there at the moment, and I'll tell you what's impressive is Halliday's pace is just like within a tenth of a second of each other. Now that he's settled down and got into that rhythm, fastest lap of the race at 1:23.443. Last lap, 1:23.482.
Yep, only 0.04 of a second difference in those two lap times for Crew Halliday, and he's been oh so consistent for the entire race distance. In fact, the first flying lap was a 23, and he stayed in that region ever since the second lap. We're now on lap 12 of the 13-lap event, so they will come round to get the last lap board at the completion of this lap. Crew Halliday holds a 1.7 lead over Tom Toparis, so Crew Halliday is on track to take out the Kawasaki Supersport Championship here at Winton with one full round and 2 races to go in the 2018 Championship.
Yeah, this is the most important 3 kilometres of Crew Halliday's life, so it's going to be incredible. He's got it all on the line now, hasn't he, Phil?
Yep, look, and you can almost see the steely glare through the tinted visor on Crew Halliday's helmet as he makes his way around through the Suzuki sweeper for the final time.
Yeah.
Comes round through the start of the S's now. Tom Toparis, look how close he is, Steve Martin. He has not given up any hope of trying to push Crew Halliday into some sort of mistake, and he has ridden the wheels off the, well, after this weekend, the very bent cube racing Kawasaki. Marty Dowd's done a great job to cobble together a bike to allow Tom Toparis to try and challenge over this final lap.
No, absolutely. Not long to go now as he heads down into AGV Corner. He's hard on the brakes as Crew Halliday. The most important kilometre of his life now, Phil.
Yep, he's only got 2 corners to go, Crew Halliday, to wrap up another championship. Of course, he has won Australian championships in the past in the Supersport and also Superstock 1000 categories. Comes around through the final 2 corners now. 1 corner to go for Crew Halliday to take the race win and be crowned Kawasaki Supersport champion for 2018. I think the body language indicates how happy he is as he takes the checkered flag. Tom Toparis takes 2nd place. Max Croker will round out the podium on board the Matt Mladen Motorsports Suzuki. Nick Limington, another great ride from him to finish in 4th place. But at the moment, it is all about Crew Halliday, the 2018 champion.
What a great display by all of the riders. But Crew Halliday, what a year he's had. It's an incredible year. He hasn't finished off the podium. He finished 2nd 4 times and he won every other race. Crew Halliday, a deserved champion.
Yeah, it has been one of those years for Crew Halliday, as I think the special helmet, the last couple of rounds he's had a new helmet designed for every single round. I reckon just quietly we might be seeing a new helmet design for the last couple of corners of the 2018 season before he puts that #1 plate on.
There's Giuseppe Scarcella there as well, just giving him congratulations. They're lining up. There's Reece Belling as well in the background there. A few of the guys, of course, Jack Passfield. Everybody happy to see Crew Halliday win this one. And
there it is, the special gold helmet being donned by Crew Halliday. He won't be putting that visor down, Steve Martin, because he won't be able to see through all the writing on it.
Oh, I don't think he'll care, mate. He will not care. He's going to lap up this slowdown lap like no other lap he's had. Because, yes, he's won championships in the past, but I'll tell you what, nothing's as special as the one that you've just won right there, right now. This is the best lap of his life as he heads out there on track, Phil. The crowd will be out there. They'll be clapping. He will be enjoying that R6 more than ever. And here we go, the burnout. It's burnout time. Look at him go. And, yep, you deserve that one, buddy.
Unbelievable race victory for Crew Halliday. Completely dominated the race. There's Tom Toparis, his main protagonist in 2018. And of course, we saw the first race victor, Max Kroger, round out the podium in third place as well on board the Matt Mladen Suzuki. But at the moment, it's all about this man, Crew Halliday, the 2018 Kawasaki Supersport champion. I'm sure that he will be very excited to speak to Emma. Let's go down to the pits with Emma Francesco and our 2018 Kawasaki Supersport champion, Crew Halliday.
Hello, champion. Crew Halliday, you are the champion for 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it. Whew, nice helmet, nice T-shirt. Speechless?
Yeah, the pressure was on that. We bought the helmet here, so I had to wrap it. So, after that first race, it rattled me a little bit, but at the same time, I look back and I wasn't sure what Tommy got, and we got the points that we needed. So, that one then, I think that's the hardest I've been pushed all year. I knew if Tommy could keep it under control, he's a young kid, he's fast as hell. I think he's faster than what he thinks if he just settled down, which he did in the last race, and it's the closest he's been to me all year. He was pushing me the whole time, and I even started to make mistakes in that race, and I just had to myself calm down. So, what can I say? The pressure's off. Can't wait to go out and celebrate the guys. They're probably going to be a bit angry at me because I did a burnout, but well.
You can cop that. That's okay.
I got 3 weeks to fix that.
Crew Halliday, the champion for 2018. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's now very common to see women in the paddock, and why wouldn't it be? As a Dare to Be Different ambassador, I'm thrilled to be encouraging more and more women to become involved in motorsport. Whether you're a tech tyre manager, a team manager, or a championship contender, these women all play pivotal roles up and down pit lane.
So I've been road racing now, I think this is my 9th year. When I first started, I was the only female, and bit by bit there were a few other girls who did join along as well, join along for the ride. But as it stands, I am one of the only females who do race in this championship.
I just love the sport. It's a real passion for me. I'm here to help the riders to get on the track as safely as possible, and it's my second family.
I love being a woman in the paddock. I think it's been fabulous in this role this year. I do all the before work. I organise the accommodation, mechanics travel, lots of running around for the motorcycles in preparation because Alex works full time. All of the team managers have been really, really helpful, and yeah, I would highly recommend it.
It's changed quite a lot. There's a lot more women getting involved with a lot of different things now in motorsport, whether it be just helping their kids or working in the canteen or, just anything. We get quite a lot of women have helped us over the years just with different things. They've been sitting around and think, oh, that looks good, I'll come and help you guys. And yeah, we've had quite a lot of women come through, which has been really good. I've made some really good friends.
The only challenge for me being a female in the track is making other people know that it's not actually a challenge being the only female out there. What I have set for, throughout all my years racing in ASBK is equality in racing. And, everybody thinks that being a female and being the only one out there is so completely different, but it's not, because once you get your helmet on, every single person out there is, they're the exact same. There's nothing stopping me from getting on the podium compared to the other guys.
So fabulous to see Taylor Ralph doing so well. She's proven that when that helmet goes on, she is strong as any guy out there, and really looking forward to seeing what she can do in the future.
So if you're a woman wanting to be involved in motorsport, as you can see, it is very possible. And there's plenty of room for you right here in the ASBK paddock.
We are getting ready for the second YMI Superbike class race for the day. Let's head down to the grid with Emma.
Just down here with Troy Herfoss, the man sitting on pole. Game face is on, that's for sure. You saw Crew Halliday, just won, took the championship. Same story for you. You win, you take the championship.
Yeah, thanks, Emma. Big congratulations to Crew. He's worked really hard for this, and I know how hard he works, and he deserves it, so congratulations to him. Yeah, 4.5 points I need, and I can tell you what, it's going to be the hardest earned 4.5 points I could ever get, but yeah, we'll see how things go. It's racing, so I'm not going to count my chickens, so I just want to do my best and put myself in a position to be safe. And hey, I like winning races when it seems to be the safest way. Try and get out front and stay out of trouble.
Good luck.
Thank you.
There he is, the man of the moment. Troy Herfoss could win the championship after this race. This guy right here starting from 4th position, Josh Waters. He had a bit of a crash at the end of that last one. Bike okay, ended up getting a podium, which was great.
Yeah, so I was a little bit unlucky there because I was very lucky, but the red flag was out and I fell off, so it was a little bit silly of my part, but it was good to be battling for the lead, so yeah, try my hardest in this one.
Good luck.
Thanks.
And we'll just check in with Daniel Felson, a little bit further back. Been a bit quiet this weekend, haven't heard much from him, and spoke to you yesterday. I asked you what your issues were and you said they were the rider. You still thinking that?
Yeah, I had a few issues myself, but that race then wasn't too bad for the championship especially. We managed to bridge the gap a little bit to 2nd position, and yeah, looking forward to this race. I just think we need to improve a little bit and make another overtake.
Go get him.
Thanks, sir.
We just finished up with Marcus Kyoto, Team Suzuki Extra. Marcus, what a fantastic race, your best race yet for that first race, finishing 6th. Must be feeling confident for this one.
Yeah, no, it was a good race. Hopefully, yeah, we can build on it again and go, you know, maybe 1 or 2 better. But no, it was a good start to the weekend. It's racing, and yeah, hopefully we can carry it on.
Good luck.
Thank you.
So here we go, boys. Troy Herfoss doing his stretches. He's got his game face on. He wins this. He wins the championship. Cannot wait for YMI Superbike race number 2. Phil Harlem, Steve Martin, over to you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Emma. Yes, it is going to be a very exciting race. Currently, Troy Herfoss enjoys a 70.5 lead. Remember, Steve Martin, he only needs to be 51 points ahead when they leave Winton here this afternoon. But I have a feeling that a very fired up Wayne Maxwell, you can see right behind there on board bike number 47, is going to come out all guns blazing in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Wayne, nothing to lose now. All he needs to do is win races to the end of the year. You know, unless something goes horribly wrong for Troy Herfoss, he will be probably crowned champion here today. So Maxwell with nothing to lose. I mean, he got a brilliant start in race 1, but you know, it came to nothing in the spokes.com.au S's when he lost the front. I'm sure he won't make that mistake again, and Herfoss knows that he's under pressure. Of course, Josh Waters as well. One to watch.
Yeah, also too, Brian Starring, we didn't get to see what his race pace was like in the first race because unfortunately he crashed out in the spokes.com.au S's on the first start of the race, causing a red flag and a full restart. And I know that those guys, they're the only ones in the top 6 there that don't have the Pirelli tyre option running. Of course, running Dunlops here, and they're very confident that their tyre is consistent over the entire race distance. We only saw a slight drop-off, but then again, we didn't get to those last 3 or 4 laps where it is really going to be critical for tyres.
Absolutely. Arthur Cece's another rider that had a brilliant race in the first one today. Keep an eye on him too, because you've got to think that his confidence is high. There he is in the number 61 machine there as they head off on the warm-up lap. Jamie Stauffer's back as well, good to see. But let's hope that all the protagonists can get through. Troy Bayliss, if he gets out front, what could he do? Troy Herfoss from P1, Wayne Maxwell from 2nd position. Of course, Troy Bayliss rounds out Ray 1.
Yeah, another rider that we didn't actually see in the first race very much of as well was Matt Walters, who will start from a fair way back on the grid. Let's have a look at the grid because we've got Herfoss, Maxwell and Bayliss on the front row of the grid with Waters, Starring and Arthur Cece's on the 2nd row of the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. Row 3 is Falzon, Mark Kyoto and of course Jamie Stauffer back from injury.
Yeah, and picking up a new sponsor, DA Plumbing, this weekend as well. The next row of the grid features Ted Collins in 10th, Alex Phillips in 11th and Kyle Buckley in 12th place.
Then we move on to the next row with Matt Walters, who's riding well at the moment, Mitch Reeves from New Zealand, and of course Mitch Levy on the Yamaha.
Yeah, he struggled a bit this weekend, but his pace was good in the first race. Glenn Scott out of position number 16, Corey Turner out of position 17, and Sloane Frost on position number 18, with Mason Coote, Adam Senior, and Yanni Shaw rounding out row 7.
Good to see that Phil Chai, Brendan McIntyre on the Suzuki, and Heath Griffin are here on row 8.
Row 9, we've got Patrick Lee, Nathan Spiteri, and Evan Biles starting out of position number 27 on row 9.
And then rounding out the field is Hamish McMurray on his Kawasaki, and of course Brian Cozen on the BMW. I think he ran off in race 1, but got back on the finish, so that was good to see. Massive field of Superbikes here today, Phil.
Yeah, 29 riders will be fronting the grid for this second YMI Superbike race at Winton, the penultimate round of the 2018 Championship. Championship is on the line. Troy Herfoss needs 51 points. Lead over Wayne Maxwell, who is currently tied in second place with Troy Bayliss to take away the championship. It will be his second Australian Superbike Championship for the rider on the Penrite Honda. Well, Steve Martin, the pressure is about to build. The riders are taking up their positions on the grid. You can see Josh Waters doing a few last-minute stretches there on board the Team X-Star Suzuki. The red flag is up. The red flag is away. We'll be going into the starters' hands. Championship on the line. Maxwell and Bayliss try to challenge Herfoss as they take the jump away from the start. And it looked like the whole front row of the grid got a great start. Where is Brian Starring? He's down the inside of Maxwell. No, he's not. And they're all... The leaders, riders are safely through. Is that Mark Kyoto, Daniel Fowles, and no, it's Mark Kyoto, I think it is. There's Josh Waters there in second place. And also Jamie Stouffer that was off the track at turn 1.
Well, that's the spokes S's is always a messy way at the start, isn't it? There's always one or two that run off there. It seems to be very congested, but now the race is underway and everyone's through and up and in one piece, which is good to see. Yeah, there's Daniel Fowles on. A lot of work to do for him now, but Bayliss off to a much better start this time round. Watch Maxwell up the inside. What a great manoeuvre into YMF.
I was actually watching practice over there on Friday, and when Wayne Maxwell would come up behind back markers, he was simply able to take an alternate line into the start of the S's there and just simply go up the inside of pretty much anyone on track, and he's used it there to great effect on Troy Bayliss to move up into second position. Maxwell is now certainly pinned the ears back, and he is gunning for nothing more than taking the bike past Troy Herfoss and trying to take this race win.
Yeah, he really pushed the front through there, but it's stuck like glue, as you said, and I tell you what, I don't think that'll be the last time that we see that manoeuvre done this race.
Herfoss was braking so late into the penultimate corner, the back wheel of the Penrite Honda was off the ground. We are only on the first lap. They're coming round to complete the first 3-lap tour of 16, and it is Herfoss that leads from Maxwell, from Bayliss in third place, Josh Waters in fourth, Starring is in fifth, Arthur Cece's in sixth, Ted Collins in seventh, Phyllis in eighth, Matt Walters in ninth, and Corey Turner rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, Bayliss is hanging in there. Good to see Josh Waters as well. Remember, he fell off last time out, as did Maxwell. It doesn't take these guys long to get back on their A-game when they've just had a small off, does it?
Well, I don't know if there's a lot of damage to Wayne Maxwell's bike as he goes up the inside at the entry to the Suzuki S's. A typical Wayne Maxwell manoeuvre. No invitation asked for or needed. Maxwell just shoves the Yamaha straight up the inside, and I think Troy Herfoss is quite well aware now that Wayne Maxwell means serious business.
That's a 190 km/h plus corner entry there. That is not mucking around. You don't normally do that unless your name's Wayne Maxwell.
And you've got confidence with a capital C in the front end of your motorcycle.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think he's got his fingers crossed at the moment, because if you remember, he crashed on the front last time out. So he is giving it everything he's got. Hopefully they've made a couple of adjustments to that bike. But one thing we know from Wayne, he bounces and he bounces back quickly.
Well, here comes Bayliss too, looking to try and get up the inside of Troy Herfoss. Late on the brakes down into the penultimate corner of the circuit here at YMI, and has done a great job to shoehorn the Desmo Sport Ducati up into second place now. And I think Troy Bayliss, by the body language, is really having to wrestle that bike at the pace that he's going early on in the race.
Well, it's all about wins for the two guys out front now. It doesn't matter. Although that man, the number 21, remember, these two guys are now vying for second place in the championship.
Remember the first flying lap in race 1, Steve Martin, because they were straight into the 20s from the first flying lap. The colder track temperatures, that's Mark Kyoto down. Unfortunately, an early end to his second race. They're only into the low 121s in this first flying lap, so the colder track temperatures probably not giving them the outright grip that we saw in race number 1.
No, absolutely. But yeah, the whole dynamics have changed. Look at Bayliss's bike moving around. A big moment there on the front. I'll tell you what, the most tentative man out there has to be Troy Herfoss. He is not taking any risk at all. He's just trying to bring that thing home. Gee, that's a strange place for Marcus Kyoto to crash. It looks like he lost the front into the Kawasaki corner there, and it looks like he's over. That Jamie Stauffer has crashed out too.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've got a red flag stoppage because there's red flags being displayed around the circuit.
I think
there's multiple riders down. We've got Jamie Stauffer down. Troy Bayliss hasn't realised that there is actually a red flag. He's just taken the race lead, or what he thinks is the race lead. But there's red flags now waving everywhere. And they've now come to a halt, getting told to slow down there. But I'm not sure where Jamie Stauffer actually crashed, Steve Martin.
No.
But I'm not sure if it was in the same location as Mark Kyoto.
I think it was. It looked like a different location, but I think the big issue was that Mark's bike was in an area where if somebody else fell off, they were going to hit it. He's obviously fine, and now they're stopping some of the field, and the front guys are going to have to go around and do a lap and then line up, and then we'll have a restart.
Well, let's just recap what has happened so far in race number 1. We saw everyone got a good jump off the line, and a majority of the front runners made it through turn 1. But we saw Daniel Falzon, Mark Kyoto and Jamie Stauffer, 2 of those riders have just crashed, make their way off through the spokes S's. And it wasn't long until we saw Wayne Maxwell and Troy Herfoss going hammer and tongs at the front of the field. And then Wayne Maxwell eventually took the lead, with Troy Bayliss also going past Troy Herfoss up into second place, but was looking like he was having to really wrestle the Desmo Sport Ducati early on in this race. Josh Waters well placed there in 4th as well. There's Jamie Stauffer, got the wobbles, and was that through the S's? Going down through turn 1. S's. And then Mark Kyoto going down at the exit of KTM and the entry to Kawasaki Corner.
Yeah. So the issue that we could have is that maybe the airbag has gone down because he went into the airbag there. Obviously Jamie's fine, but they'll need to, if it is flat, they'll have to reinflate that. With the fact that all the tyre warmers and everything are coming out, I would say that is probably the case at the moment.
Well, coming round to take up their positions on the grid. We've seen 2 YMI Superbike races here this weekend, both of them having red flag stoppages and restarts. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the final stages of this race play out, especially in relation to tyre wear. And of course, just like the first restart of this race, the championship is on the line. Troy Herfoss, the man pulling in there to pole position on bike number 17, the Penrite Honda. The 2016 Australian Superbike champion needs to be 51 points ahead to be able to secure the championship here at the penultimate round of the season. With the red flag ready at the front of the grid, Sam Phillips puts the red flag up. The riders know we are ready to start. Herfoss holds a 51-point lead in the championship. Bayliss and Maxwell tied for second place, and they all get a good start from the front row of the grid. Maxwell looks like he's charging up the inside. Look at Arthur Cece's on board bike number 61. He's down into second place. Troy Bayliss goes around the outside and then the inside line into a turn 2. But Arthur Cece's has got a great start, and he's right up with this lead group on bike number 61.
Yeah, what an incredible start by Arthur Cece's. He used to be a speedway rider, so he's pretty good getting off the start, and he made the most of it this time round. Troy Bayliss in second position. He really did side through the pack though in the spokes S's. Great job by him, but it's Wayne Maxwell already leading this one, and look at him go out front. He's got 3 bike lengths already over Troy Bayliss.
Well, he was so far ahead, Steve Martin. I heard you thinking, oh no, where's he gone? Because he was so far ahead, he was actually out of the camera shot as they panned round to see Troy Bayliss sitting there in second, Troy Herfoss in third, then it's Josh Waters after Cece's, then it's Brian Starring on board bike number 67 sitting back in 6th place. Daniel Falzon's got a much better start in this one. He hasn't had to go
we've
across
got
the
another
dirt.
faller.
Oh, there is another faller. I can't quite pick up who that is, but I think that's at the start of the S's.
Yeah, not too sure who that rider is, but we've got another red flag, unfortunately.
Well, that could mean that race is actually declared. We'll wait for the official word from the race officials here. Because it was on the first start, they may actually decide to have a restart of that race. I can't...
Well, it's going to have to be a shortened race, because every lap that we do, they will take laps off. That is, I think that's could be...
I think that might be the local, one of the local riders that's been caught up in that incident.
Yeah, well, we'll bring it to you as soon as we... It's Nathan Spiteri, unfortunately, that's gone down. Yeah, unfortunately that's Nathan's material, so let's hope that yeah, he's okay. Of course, he's been a long time runner in the Australian Superbike Championship.
Well, once again, Steve Martin, we are in a similar position to what we have found ourselves several times this afternoon. Troy Herfoss, with the championship on the line, is starting from pole position, needs 51 points. Lead over Troy Bayliss and Wayne Maxwell to be crowned Superbike champion at the end of this race. We are ready to go racing, hopefully for the final time. Red flag leaves the front of the grid. Herfoss on pole position. Maxwell and Bayliss, his championship protagonists, in second and third. And it looks like a good start from everyone on the front row of the grid as they charge down towards turn one. Where is Arthur CC's? It is Troy Bayliss that gets the whole shot and leads them through turn one with Maxwell, Waters, and then Brian Starring right behind. Herfoss is back to fifth position.
And everyone is through the spokes S's, which is very good to see. Around the outside, that's Kyle Buckley, I think, or
Matt Walters.
Oh, Matt Walters, yeah, he did get a good start as well. Yanni Shaw in the background there, but Bayliss, what a start from him, incredible stuff. There's Mitch Rees near the back of the field there, so he didn't get the start that he wanted. But Bayliss, clear air in front of him, what can he do? We know that they've sorted out the problems of tyre wear now. Good start by Josh Waters as well. Where is Troy Herfoss? He's back in the pack, he's back in fifth.
Yeah, that's, I think Troy Herfoss may have just got a little bit crowded through the spokes.com.au's for the first time and wanted to make sure he played it safe. Look how close Ted Collins, Matt Walters and Kyle Buckley are as they make their way through the start of the S's there at YMF Corner and down through KTM. Now through the AGV Helmets Corner, and Troy Herfoss has got up the inside of Brian Starring with a very slick move there on board the Penrite Honda, going past his former teammate.
Oh, it's going to be interesting to see how Bayliss plays this. We know that when he gets a bit of fresh air in front of him with a fresh rear tyre, he's virtually uncatchable. But it's only in the last few laps that he seems to get caught. Wayne Maxwell hasn't been able to go past him like he went past Troy Herfoss in the second part of this race.
And I don't think it's through lack of trying. You can see how late and deep Maxwell was into the spokes.com.au's, has then actually had the foot off. The bike was sliding. It looked like both front and back down into the corner. Speaking of sliding, Corey Turner on board bike number 52, last year's rookie champion, was very late and deep into the Motul corner there, trying to push his way forward. He's sitting in ninth place at the moment, just ahead of Ted Collins.
And what a weekend he's having too. We've heard of some people doubling up in different classes, but he's riding a sidecar and a superbike this weekend.
Yeah, his arms have stretched a couple of centimetres, he reckons, having to hold on to the awesome power of the Irving Vincent sidecar as the swinger this weekend. The top three have really closed up now. Waters has closed up on the back of Maxwell, who in turn has closed up on the back of Troy Bayliss on board the Desmo Sport Ducati. So the three-time Superbike world champion has really got his hands full at the moment with a couple of former Australian champions, one of them the current champion as well, right on his tail.
Now, to put it into perspective, earlier on in the day, the first flying laps were like 23s. That was a 25, so they're a couple of seconds off what they were doing earlier on in this race, the restarts of this race.
I reckon we might see a bit more tyre movement in that as well on these bikes, Steve, as they've had the couple of heat cycles through them. Brian Starring is certainly the one to watch. He's the only rider in that lead group that has a different tyre option, as Arthur CC's has a big look down the inside of Daniel Falzon. Can't quite get the job done. Falzon had the very late run in on the brakes as Maxwell goes up the inside of Bayliss. Bayliss has to stand the Desmo Sport Ducati up to not come in contact with Maxwell's Yamaha YZF R1M.
Yeah, he certainly wasn't scared, was he, Bayliss? He leant on him all the way through the middle of that corner and thought, I'm not going to give it to you, you're going to have to earn it. And earn it he did. Maxwell back out in front.
So looks like Waters may have just lost a couple of bike lengths to the battle between Maxwell and Bayliss there. I think he may have been getting ready to take evasive action because they were extremely close to putting each other off the circuit. Down through the KTMS's, Bayliss catches up. He's carrying a lot of corner speed there, is Troy Bayliss through the S's, Steve.
Well, absolutely. I mean, he's had plenty of podiums this year, a couple of wins, but I'll tell you what, he's not a guy that likes to finish second and third. He likes to win. And if he's got a sniff of it, which he has, he's still on the back of Wayne Maxwell there, he will give it everything he's got.
Here's a replay of Arthur CC's just having a look down the inside of Daniel Falzon. Couldn't quite get the job done. Brian Starring right ahead of them. You can see Al Phillips not too far behind on board bike number 20. And here is the replay of Maxwell going down the inside. Bayliss having to stand the bike up just a fraction. And Maxwell taking up the running at the front of the field.
Yeah, definitely a good move, but it is Wayne Maxwell out front at the moment, but he is not pulling away. Bit of a big movement there by Bayliss, but he pulls it all together. It's unusual to see him riding smooth, isn't it? He is generally got that Panigale final edition moving around all over the place. Brian Starring heading down through Motul again with Daniel Fowles on. Much better start for him this time, but not where he wants to be on the racetrack, I wouldn't imagine.
Well, you can also see in that group as well that Brian Starring's just managing to hold off a couple of bike length lead over Fowles and Arthur CC's at the moment. Try as they might, they just can't seem to drag themselves up onto the back of the BC Performance Kawasaki ZX10, ridden by a man that's won 3 Australian Championships in the 125 Supersport and Superbike categories, Brian Starring. You
can forget everything I said about the tyres. They've just gone and done, well, Wayne Maxwell's just gone through it at 1 minute 20.4. That is pretty quick. So I will check to see if that is under the lap record, but it's very, very close. So they're all on lap record pace out there at the moment. The front 4 guys, including Herfoss in the 20s, that second group are in the 1 minute 21.5. So 2 distinct groups out there at the moment.
Oh, we've got a big rider down at the start of the AGV corner.
Yeah, we have.
That was a massive crash. It was a fair way back in the field.
Yeah, you can just see the smoke. We just saw the smoke there on the screen as we went past. So, yeah, Matty Walters is down as well. We've heard that. So there's a couple of riders down at the moment. Gee, I'll tell you what, it's a take no prisoners track, this Winton today, isn't it?
But certainly been the scene of much carnage today has Winton Motor Raceway. As we go back to looking through the field and seeing what's happening here. That looks like Heath Griffin going down there, and that was the rider ahead of him. That was a big crash, the same place that Matt Walters had actually crashed.
Is that Al Phyllis?
Nah.
Oh, Patrick Lee it could be, I reckon.
Patrick Lee.
Yeah, it is Patrick Lee who's gone down there.
Well, despite Mark Chiato's earlier prediction, I don't think Patrick Lee will be wrapping up the championship this weekend.
No, I don't think so. Maybe not at Phillip Island either, but it could be Troy Herfoss, though, because he is sitting pretty happy at the moment.
He's actually just doing what he has to do, and in fact, sitting there in 4th place, that could very well be enough for Troy Herfoss, but we will get the updates as this race goes on. Remember, he only needs to be 51 points ahead. And let's go down to Emma for an update from the pits. Well, Wayne Maxwell continues to lead as they come across the line. Bayliss and Waters have closed down a little bit, I think, on that last lap as we have a look at the lap times. Josh Waters, in fact, was the fastest man on track on that last lap with a 120.743. Both Maxwell and Bayliss back into the 121s. So Josh Waters, the reigning champion, has done a great job on board the Team Suzuki X-Star Australian Machine Bike #1 in closing down our 2 race leaders.
The one thing we do know about Josh Waters is that, you know, he's had a pretty tough year, but when he gets his mojo on, he's pretty hard to stop, and I'd say it's on at the moment. Keep an eye on him. Bayliss's bike is moving around all over the place. Up the inside goes Waters. This is the first time we've seen him attack in a while, and he's looking pretty positive there. He's looking for a way through. I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be in Bayliss's shoes at the moment, and Wayne Maxwell could have some company very, very soon. Look how wide Bayliss was there, and Josh Waters able to take such a tight line, but still drive out very, very quickly.
Yeah, I think it was 2 out of 3 corners there. Bayliss's bike was way offline, but it was only the sheer brilliance and guts and determination of Troy Bayliss that was able to get the Desmo Sport Ducati back online. And Waters saw an opportunity at the first occasion, tried to dive up the inside, and then unfortunately had to get out of it, and that was what put him in a position where he was too far behind in the 3rd one to try and get past.
Bayliss, it looks like he's lost rear grip to me. I mean, he really is struggling. You can see that bike moving around a lot there, and meanwhile, Maxwell's pulling away out front.
Let's go down to Emma for an update.
Just checking in with the Penrite Honda Racing team, and Dion, what kind of pressure do you think he's putting himself under right now?
Yeah, I told him he didn't have to win this race, so he's got to finish and hopefully bring the championship home. Thanks.
Yeah, Dion Coote, the man responsible for the Penrite Honda team. And he's done a great job in his first year in charge of Penrite Honda, and their rider, Troy Herfoss, is just coming into the screen there in position #4 on the road at the moment. And the way the points are standing is, even if he finishes in 4th place, he will wrap up this championship here this weekend, Steve.
Absolutely. He's just got to get a handful of points and he will be the champion. So I'll tell you now, he'll be sitting on that bike. He'll be keeping his fingers crossed. He'll be hoping that there's nothing mechanical go wrong with it. You know, there's just so many things that will be running through his mind right now. He won't be the same Troy Herfoss as he normally is out on the racetrack. He just wants to bring it home.
Well, as we look at the screen at the moment, we see that it is Troy Herfoss trying to close in on Josh Waters and Troy Bayliss. But Bayliss is looking very loose as Waters is looking very smooth and collected at the moment as they come across the line to complete 7 laps of the 12-lap journey. So 5 laps to go for our race leaders, and the top 4 really have started to break away from Daniel Fowles and Brian Starry, who are the next riders, and there's about a second separating those 2 on track as well. They're not even on vision as they come across the old start line and go down through Motul and Pirelli corners.
Yeah, it looks like Waters at the moment, he's just trying to get a way through. He can't find a way through on Bayliss. I mean, the way that the Ducati punches off the corners, it's got a lot of bottom and mid-range punch, which it's very hard to... and he goes up the inside, he tries again. That's the place he feels comfortable to do it, but he just can't get close enough. It's a big ask. He's trying again, but no gap left there by Bayliss. I bet you he has another crack here too, but no. Herfoss, though, look at him. He's closing right up now, Phil.
And I think that Josh Waters is getting increasingly desperate to try and get past Troy Bayliss because he knows that Herfoss is closing in. And I think you'll find if Waters can actually get past Bayliss here, he may be able to start to close the gap down to Wayne Maxwell. It looks like he's got a little bit more up his sleeve. He just can't seem to use it at the moment with Troy Bayliss being so late and deep on the brakes.
He's gone wide.
I think that was, he just got his braking a little bit late there, Josh Waters, and he's lost a little bit of track position.
I think that Troy Herfoss is actually backing off a little bit at the moment. I think he doesn't want to have anything to do with that battle in front of him. If he finishes where he is, he's going to be a pretty happy man in a few minutes' time.
Yeah, I reckon he also wants to finish at least on the podium to claim that championship. But look at this. You can see Bayliss was late on the brakes. Josh Waters tried to think about outbraking him, got in there way too deep, and it was an unbelievable effort from Josh Waters to keep that Team Suzuki X-Star machine on track.
Meanwhile, back out front, it's all Wayne Maxwell. He's got clear track behind him, a lead of just over 2 seconds at the moment, and last time through he did a 21.3, pretty much 0.7 quicker than the guys behind him. Bayliss has really lost that rear grip, I think. Yeah, I would be surprised to see if Herfoss wants to get involved in this battle at the moment.
Yeah, we're talking about the track temperature and how it's affecting along with the heat cycles. Wayne Maxwell's fastest lap in this race at 20.442. What's that, about 0.3 of a second off their fastest laps this weekend? Because we saw in race 1, the fastest lap was actually faster than qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. This is all Wayne Maxwell's now, but he did crash out of race 1 today, didn't he, when he was in the lead with a handy gap behind him. So he's got to try and just hold it all together now. Meanwhile, Josh Waters is trying to apply the pressure. He's got good drive out and he's driven past Bayliss. Looks like he's got it. Has he got it? Bayliss is very strong in the brakes and once again retakes it. You've got to do it somewhere else, earlier in the lap.
You can see there that they were level pegging on the straight, but Troy Bayliss has got so much confidence in the front end of the Desmo Sport Ducati. I think Paul Free and the team have done a great job in this second half of the season in giving Troy Bayliss a bike that he can really ride the wheels off as Waters goes down the inside. Oh, that was miraculous stuff there from Josh Waters. You can see how late and determined Bayliss was, and unfortunately I think Troy Bayliss is now about to be swallowed up by the man that's about to claim his second championship, Troy Herfoss, on bike number 17. Herfoss didn't switch to the inside like I've seen him do plenty of times this weekend and last year as well, Steve Martin. I thought he would have gone up the inside of Bayliss there.
Well, I'm telling you, he wants to wrap this up and he just needs to finish where he is to wrap it up. You don't want to get into a handlebar tangling match with Troy Bayliss and run off the track when you're 2 laps away from winning an Australian Championship.
Well, down into the AGV corner, it is Josh Waters taking up the running in second position.
Did you see that?
He got in there late and deep, ran wide, and I think that may be enough for Troy Herfoss. He's just going to bring the bike home now.
It's not over till it's over, I'm telling you.
That's it. Wayne Maxwell would also go along with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, we have just had everything thrown at us here at Winton today, and I don't think that Troy Herfoss saw that coming anytime soon.
Well, I think Dion Cooten, the team down there at Penrite Honda, just had a kitten on pit lane. And Troy Bayliss is now, I think, pretty safe in third position because I don't think Troy Herfoss is going to try and gather him back up. We're on the 11th lap now of the 12-lap journey, so there's only 6 kilometres or less than 6 kilometres to go now for Troy Herfoss.
Gee, I'll tell you what, Herfoss now is falling back into the clutches of Brian Starring. It's almost as if he's got some sort of issue.
Well, he just lost 2 seconds on that lap trying to gather the bike up.
He's 4 seconds, though, now behind Bayliss, way back, and in the clutches. I mean, Brian Starring was nowhere to be seen before. Look there, Starring right on the back of these guys now with Daniel Falzon behind him.
Well, and also, too, as you mentioned, that Brian Starring was confident that he would be able to keep the pace up for the entire race distance. And in fact, I think even if it got to it, that Herfoss could afford to finish behind Brian Starring and still take the championship.
He's literally just got to get a handful of points. I think 4 or 5 points, and he's won this one.
So look at Bayliss still manhandling the Desmo Sport Ducati 1299 final edition. It's the last year that we'll see this bike being ridden, because next year they should be on the brand new 1000cc V4 Ducati Panigale R.
Oh, look at that. Can you see that thing moving around? But I tell you what, the new V4 Ducati will be an absolute weapon, and I'm sure that they'll be looking forward to getting it out on track.
Final lap now for Wayne Maxwell to take another race victory. This will be his 4th race win of the year if he can get to the checkered flag and take the win for the Yamaha racing team on their YZF R1M. Josh Waters will score another podium. That will take his podium tally up one more as well, but unfortunately still the win eludes the reigning champion from 2017 on board that X-Star Suzuki.
Yeah, impressive ride by Josh Waters. I would say that the X-Star Suzuki team are back, and I tell you what, Bayliss, look at him there. He's just, what's going on there? I think he's just going to be happy to finish 3rd at the moment. He's looking over his shoulder. He's got the gap, but just looks like he's run out of rear tyre again.
I think his tyre is shot. You can see a massive big chunk out of it as Herfoss has dropped behind Brian Starring. I think he's just bringing this bike home. He knows he doesn't have to do anything stupid. Just looking at it, the tyre doesn't look in really bad condition. No. You can see there was, it looked like massive wear patches on the side of Bayliss's tyre. But 2 more corners to go for Wayne Maxwell. He's round through the penultimate corner. One last corner for Wayne Maxwell. Drives out of here and onto the Yamaha Motor Finance straight to take his 4th race win of the year. Maxwell takes victory and unfortunately doesn't keep the championship alive, because the 2018 champion will be Troy Herfoss as he comes across the line. Congratulations to Josh Waters for a fine ride into 2nd place, and Troy Bayliss rounds out the podium, but Troy Herfoss will be the champion with 298.5 points and an unassailable lead over the rest of the field, and very lucky to get out of a couple of precarious situations on those last couple of laps.
Yeah, what a race that was. Well done to Wayne Maxwell. He deserved that after the crash that he had earlier this morning. Bayliss, well, you can always count on him to put a show on, and Josh Waters is back as well, so really good to see Josh Waters on form. But keep an eye on that man, Troy Herfoss, because I'm pretty sure we'll see some sort of antics from him. He will be really looking forward to showing it off. There's Dion Coots, and it's a burnout time. We've got burnouts on track at the moment, but there are the team. How hard have they worked? And there he is. Look at that. He's giving it everything he's got and having fun. Just giving that. He doesn't care about the tyre life on that rear Pirelli now, does he?
No, Gary Crilly is going to get no data from that rear tyre, that's for sure, as Troy Herfoss celebrates with a big burnout in front of the main portion of the crowd here at Winton Motor Raceway. Wayne Maxwell taking the race win from Josh Waters and Troy Bayliss, with Brian Starring in 4th place. Troy Herfoss took the championship with 5th place. Daniel Falzon in 6th. Arthur Cece's in 7th place. Kyle Buckley in 8th. Mitch Rees, good finish for him in 9th place. And Glenn Scott rounded out the top 10. Let's hear from 2018 champion Troy Herfoss. He's with Emma.
Troy Herfoss wiping the tears away. Ladies and gentlemen, your champion for 2018, Troy Herfoss. What's there to say?
That was way too stressful. Yeah, unfortunately it all went wrong there at the start, and we had a minor issue which meant the traction, quick shifter and everything wasn't working, which is fine being old school, but the problem was it thought it would work sometimes, and it just was so stressful. Got a bit much for me on the way into pit lane, but I'm just so happy. Like, yeah, we all work so hard, and these guys ride so hard every week, and we've really earned this championship, and to do it with a round to go, it's I wouldn't have dreamed of doing this. I want to dedicate it to Clarkey, because he's been saying all year. My crew chief Sean's having his first child the weekend of our last round, and he kept making jokes all year, hey, you better wrap it up because I'm calling in sick that weekend. And yeah, we never thought it'd be possible, but yeah, I'm so happy for the whole Penrite Honda team. Dion Coote took over the team this year, and what do I say? He's just done a perfect job. We've been flawless, nearly all year, and the competition has been fierce. So congratulations to the whole team.
That was really tough for you with those first few laps. Everything that happened, it must have been really hard to maintain that focus. What was going through your head on that last lap?
Someone don't take me out. I don't know. The tyre was ruined, and I really wanted to be on the podium to be able to accept it from the podium, and it nearly beat me there at the end. So huge congratulations to everyone. And I know Wayne's had a tough weekend, but he rode flawlessly in that race, and you can see from his tyre he had to work for it. So huge congratulations to him and his team, and it's been another really good battle, and it's been a lifelong rivalry. So I bet he's already planning next year's assault.
Enjoy the champagne. Ladies and gentlemen, your champion for 2018, Troy Herfoss.
On the MA calendar, we can see that the Australian Supercross Championship Round 1 is coming up on the 15th of September at Jimboomba Raceway. The Australian Classic Motocross Championship, the 21st to the 23rd of September at Ararat Motocross Track in Victoria. And the Australian Off-Road Championships, Rounds 8 and 9, the 23rd to the 22nd to 23rd of September at Kingston in South Australia. For more information, always go to www.ma.org.au. With the completion of events here at Winton, let's go down to Emma in the pits to wrap up today's show.
Phil Hullum, just wanted to say a very big thank you to yourself and to Steve Martin for a fantastic weekend. Round 6 of the Yamaha Motor Finance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motul Pirelli is already over. Troy Herfoss is the champion for 2018 for the YMI Superbikes, and Crew Halliday also got the championship in the bag for Supersport. Supersport 300 Championship is still certainly a battle. Make sure you join us for our next round, our final round, which is down in Phillip Island, the 12th to the 14th of October. A very big thank you to everyone behind the camera, all of our crew, and of course, thank you very much to all of you at home for watching. I'm Emma Francesco. We'll see you next time.